Chapter 23. When I wake up, I'm in motion. I'm still in the van, curled in a ball on the mattress. But Izzy's not next to me anymore. Her absence is a whisper of cold against my back, and I shiver. There's a low rumbling sound, the engine, and every so often there's a bump jostling me. The road. Izzy, I say, scrambling to my knees, only to be promptly knocked back down by another bump in the road. Izzy, what's going on? Ah, you're awake. Her voice comes from the front of the van. A little muffled, just in time. We're almost there. Almost where? I manage to get to my feet and stumble up to the front seat. We're driving down a scrap of freeway I don't recognize, the signs obscured by morning fog. At least it's not raining anymore. You'll see, Izzy says cheerily, turning onto a narrow lane lined by a thin smattering of trees. I yawn and settle into the seat, tucking my legs up against my chest. How long have we been driving? Couple of hours. She pulls into what can only be called a parking spot in the loosest possible terms and cuts the engine. I woke up early. That's an understatement. I know things have been rough for you lately, and I had an idea for how to cheer you up. Did that idea involve a plan to procure caffeine? I rub my eyes, still groggy. We can pick some up on the way back. Izzy pops the door open and hops down. Come on. Instead of pavement, my feet hit something soft and I stumble over loose dirt and rock. There's a rushing in my ears and a familiar smell in the air I can't quite place. Pine and salt and cold. Izzy loops around the side of the van and takes my hand, stabilizing me. Let's go. She leads the way along the path as it gets narrower and narrower until we have to adjust to a single file down a steep decline. Here we are, Izzy says, gesturing at the view. My heart leaps into my throat so violently I almost choke on it, and my lungs falter, tripping over breath after breath, because Izzy has brought me to the one place I don't want to be, the coast. We don't have beaches in the Pacific Northwest, not in the way that California or Florida do. We don't have fluffy white sand and warm ocean waves and colorful drinks with umbrellas to sip on while we sunbathe. We have rocky shores and ocean spray and bonfires. The coast is cold and brutal most of the year, but today it nearly rips me to shreds. The wind makes a mess of the tears on my face, obscuring my vision. I dip down to my knees, unable to stand upright, as the world seems to bend and break before me. It isn't Arcadia Bay, but it may as well be, with the way that my body recoils and rejects this place where sand meets sea. Steph? Izzy's voice is far away, as though from another plane of existence entirely. Steph, are you okay? The question is so absurd to me it's almost laughable. Am I okay? I haven't been okay for a long time, and I can't believe it took someone driving me to the coast for me to realize it. I push off the sand, damp circles pressed into the knees of my jeans, and come to standing. With a shaky breath, I look to the horizon and say, no, and then I sprint down the shore. I don't know how long I run, but eventually I come to a large, craggy rock with a lighthouse perched atop it, reaching up into cotton candy clouds, and I have to turn around. The beach lightens and the fog clears as the sun inches over the horizon, but I can't see Izzy anywhere in the distance. Maybe she's waiting for me back at the van. Maybe she's given up and left me behind like some kind of wildlife drop-off. That's it. Leave the feral beast in her natural habitat, near the ocean, where grief is as likely to get her as the ocean waves. I kick the sand with the toe of my white Vans as I begin the trek back. This time I don't run. I walk slowly, weaving backward and forward across the beach, eyes skipping over stones and shells and kelp left behind by the tide. I pick up a whole sand dollar and a bit of sand-weathered glass, smooth and green. Eventually, the trailhead comes back into view, but I'm not ready yet, so I carve myself a little C in the sand. I feel like I'll never be ready. Part of me will always be stuck here at the edge of land and sea. The scene between the two vacillates as the tide... Vacillates? I don't know what. As the tide creeps in and out, leaving little bits of foam in its wake. I want to take all my feelings and throw them into the wind, let the ocean sprint them away to weird and wondrous depths. But I don't know how to loosen my grip on these emotions. How do you let go of someone you already lost? How do you do it without losing them again? There you are, Izzy's voice is coarse and clotted. Effing hell, Steph. I immediately tense, my muscles matching her tone. What's going on with you? She plops down next to me in the sand. I know things are rough right now, but I really thought a change of scenery would help. I meet her with a hard gaze and words dripping with sarcasm. You did you? What a genius idea. Take the girl with coastal town trauma to the coast. Coastal town trauma? Izzy shakes her head, hair sticking to her face, wet with wind. What are you talking about? I thought this was about your mum. I've told Izzy more than almost anyone who wasn't there to witness it themselves, like Mikey or Chloe, but I haven't mentioned it since that night a year ago when I told her about my mum. So how is it she's supposed to remember? How is she supposed to know how I feel when I don't really know how I feel? I've only rarely said the words out loud, given name to the place that still holds so much of my fractured heart. Arcadia Bay. The words are on the tip of my tongue, an endless scroll of stories I could tell. I could tell her about the winters spent curled up by the fire watching movies with my dad, springs spent on the lawn of Blackwood Academy playing tabletop RPGs with Mikey, Chloe, and Rachel, summers spent collecting enough seashells to decorate the sandcastles we built. But mostly, I should tell her about one fall in particular. I should really tell her more than just the basics. I should tell her about the wind and the rain, about the wreckage, about the final phone call I had with my mum, about our last words to each other over a static connection. I should tell her about how I still can't look at the ocean without the grief welling up inside me. How I can't bring myself to text Chloe or Mikey or anyone because it reminds me too much of the time before my life came crashing down. I should tell her she's the first new person I've said I love you to, about how I'm still waiting for the words to ruin her the way they ruined Mum. I can sense the precarious cliff we stand on, toes curled around the edge, on the precipice of falling, and Izzy's right here, hands outstretched. Maybe she's here to save me, pull me from the edge, or maybe she'll take my hand and we'll jump together. I stare unseeing at the shoreline, waiting for what? I can't say, because I know how this will go. I will tear myself up, pulling at this emotional thread until I unravel before her eyes, just so I can hand her this little piece of myself, and she will take it in her hands, ready to shelter it from the wind and rain. But it's the rest of me that will be in ruin. Opening my mouth, I turn to begin the process of unmaking myself before her, of shedding myself layer by layer so she can see the truth of the girl she loves. In her eyes is a desperate longing. She wants this. She wants me. If I tell her everything, it will make her feel closer. It will make her feel better, but it will only make me feel wary and raw. It doesn't matter, I say, nearly choking on the words. None of it matters. Steph, talk to me. She grabs my hand. I let her hold it. I won't let her have anything else. I don't want to talk about it, okay? Just, can we go home? I sigh and add a tired, please. Izzy stands, helping me to my feet, and we march back to the van in silence. She finally lets go of my hand, and when she starts it up, the heat from the vents blows directly on my arms, warming my skin. Neither of us speaks as she sets up her GPS, but before she puts the van in reverse, she glances my way, tracing the curves of my face with her eyes. I wonder if she ever gets tired of looking at me. Self-conscious, I find my reflection in the mirror, and on the back of the sun visor, I look exhausted. I look aged. I feel both. I flip the visor back up. The only thing worse than the judgment of her eyes on me is my own. As we pull away from the beach, it's finally light enough to see the sign, and I almost laugh. Cape Disappointment State Park.